China's Ministry of Commerce has opposed any forced sale of the short video platform TikTok. TikTok CEO Xu Zhiqiu appeared before the US Congress a few hours after China issued the statement. US officials have been citing national security concerns to demand TikTok's Chinese owners sell their stakes or potentially face a ban. According to its state media, North Korea has tested a new nuclear-capable underwater attack drone that can generate a radioactive tsunami. A video of the drill was shown on state television. The new North Korean drone cruised underwater at a depth of more than 150 meters for over 59 hours and detonated in waters off its east coast. Dubbed Hail or Tsunami, the drone system is intended to make sneak attacks in enemy waters and destroy naval striker groups. Denmark has invited the Russian-controlled operator of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline to help salvage an unidentified object. 3 explosions on the Nord Stream pipelines last year have become another flashpoint in a standoff between the West and Russia. The standoff was, of course, set off by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Nord Stream gas pipeline was built to deliver Russian gas to Germany. Hungary has said it would not arrest Russian President Vladimir Putin if he entered the country. The statement comes despite the International Criminal Court issuing an arrest warrant for him last week. Hungary is also a NATO member and has voiced objections to Western nations sending arms to Ukraine. Russia has dismissed the ICC's warrant as unacceptable, saying that it is not subject to the ICC's decisions. Slovakia has handed over the first 4 MiG-29 jets it has pledged to donate to Ukraine. The rest of the fighter jets are set to be delivered in the coming weeks. NATO member Slovakia joined Poland in announcing the delivery of jets to Ukraine last week. Slovakia has pledged to donate 13 Soviet-made fighter jets in all. European Union leaders have held talks with UN Chief Antonio Guterres on global food security. They also spoke out about sanctions imposed on Russia over its invasion of Ukraine and endorsed a plan to supply more artillery shells to Kyiv. Guterres' participation in the EU summit comes days after the renewal of a deal brokered by the UN and Turkey on the safe export of Ukrainian grain via the Black Sea. French riot police tried to block workers on strike in front of a Total Energies refinery in northern France. The workers, like much of France's population, are protesting against the French government's pension reform. Industrial action disrupting French refineries has left some petrol stations short of fuel as strikes stretch into the 17th day. Hundreds of Greek workers gathered outside the French embassy in Athens to show support for striking workers in France over the pension reforms. They were joined by French nationals living in Greece. Demonstrations and strikes continue across France over President Emmanuel Macron's plan to raise the pension age. There's also a steep increase in the number of violent clashes between protesters and the French police. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has pressed forward with his plan to overhaul the country's judiciary. Netanyahu also summoned Defense Minister Yoav Gallant after reports the top-level cabinet member wanted to call a halt to the planned overhaul. Israeli media said Gallant had planned to make a statement seeking to stop the reforms in the name of maintaining order in Israeli military ranks. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak welcomed his Albanian counterpart Edi Rama to 10 Downing Street yesterday. Sunak and Rama said they would discuss both countries' efforts to stem illegal migration. According to the British government stats, Albanians made up 42% of people heading to Britain on small boats between May and September last year. Sunak said the pair would also discuss economic cooperation, trade and security. China has granted a rollover of $2 billion State Administration of Foreign Exchange safe deposits to Pakistan for 1 year. It was one of the requirements of the International Monetary Fund before granting Pakistan a bailout. The rollover was crucial for meeting external financing needs in order to move towards striking the much-awaited staff-level agreement. Around 295 people have been rescued from a fishing boat intercepted 104 miles from the eastern coast of Italy's Calabria region. Meanwhile, about 450 were rescued from another fishing vessel 115 miles east of Syracuse in southern Sicily. Italy's migrant sea rescue operations have come under scrutiny since a February 26 shipwreck just off Calabria's coastline. 88 people had died and more than 10 still remain missing. Cyclone Freddy has caused widespread destruction in Malawi. The cyclone has dumped 6 months' worth of rainfall in just 6 days in the southern part of the country. The death toll in Malawi is now 449, while 350 people remain missing. Cyclone Freddy destroyed over 117,000 hectares of Malawi's farmland. The price of the staple crop corn has gone up by 400%. The number of monarch butterflies wintering in Mexico has dropped by 22%. Frost and extreme weather conditions in the US have led to the decline. The species migration has also been impacted by drought and the use of pesticides. Monarch butterflies' favored wintering grounds reported a loss of trees. A forest fire raged in eastern Spain on Thursday. Emergency evacuation in 3 villages forced thousands to leave. Emergency services have set up refuge and field hospitals. The fire has burned around 100,000 hectares of land. 10 airplanes have been putting out the flames. Military firefighters have been deployed to control the wildfire. King salmon fishing along America's west coast faces a ban. Fish populations have declined drastically after years of drought. Commercial and recreational salmon fishing in California and Oregon may be banned. The ban would be a blow to fishermen, restaurants, and the hospitality industry. The Pacific Fishery Management Council is set to take a decision on April 7th. NASA has reported that global sea levels rose by 2.8 millimeters between 2021 and 2022. The amount of water can fill up to 1 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. The annual rate of rise has increased from about 2 millimeters in the 1990s to about 4.3 millimeters today. Analysts estimate that sea level rise will hit 6.6 millimeters by 2050. An exhibition in South Africa explores the destruction of wildlife. Titled End of the Game, the exhibition focuses on African hunting at the end of the 19th century. The display explores aesthetic and documentative perspectives. American photographer Roger Ballen highlights the destructive ties between man and nature. A new EU regulation will help reduce greenhouse gas emissions from the shipping sector. The agreement will promote the use of cleaner fuels and energy. The target is to reduce net greenhouse emissions by at least 55% by 2030. Waterborne transport generates 3 to 4% of total carbon dioxide emissions in the EU. Farming has been found to cause more than a quarter of the pollution in the UK's cities. Rural agriculture leads to particle pollution in cities in the UK. Particle pollution from the rest of Europe is also affecting Britain. Farming is reportedly the main cause of springtime smog that affects Western Europe each year. Shares of Jack Dorsey's payment firm Block have plummeted amid accusations that the company fudged its user numbers and customer acquisition costs. A report from short seller Hindenburg Research says that 40 to 75% of accounts they reviewed were either fake, involved in fraud, or additional accounts tied to a single individual. Dorsey's fortune plunged by $526 million on Thursday, his worst single-day decline since May. Ford Motors has said that it's expecting to incur a $3 billion pre-tax loss in its electric vehicles business. The projected loss was revealed during a briefing for analysts. The company, however, expects its first generation of EVs to be profitable. CFO John Lawler said that the automaker will have the capacity to build 600,000 EVs by the end of 2023. According to media reports, the Life Insurance Corporation of India is mulling caps on its debt and equity exposure to companies. This comes as the company is looking to lower risk concentration in its investments. LIC had been criticized for its massive investments in private companies earlier this year. The move will further limit the insurer's exposure and strengthen its investment strategies. South Korea's LG Energy Solution is set to invest $5.58 billion to build a new battery factory. This new factory will be built in Arizona and consist of 2 manufacturing facilities. The company has been in discussions with Tesla and other EV startups to supply batteries from the Arizona factory. The project was paused last year after an initial announcement due to adverse economic conditions. The European Central Bank is pressuring Austria-based Raiffeisen Bank International to wind down its operations in Russia. Last month, a top US sanctions officer had expressed concerns about the bank's Russian business. The Russian unit is the Austrian bank's second biggest business and stands highly profitable for the company. The ECB has provided the bank some buffer time to provide its plan of action for the exit. New Zealand has become the latest nation to limit the use of video sharing app TikTok on government-related devices. The island nation will ban TikTok on devices with access to the country's parliamentary network amid cybersecurity concerns. Concerns have mounted globally about the potential for the Chinese government to access users' location and contact data. Twitter has announced that Twitter Blue is now available for purchase globally. Twitter Blue is the company's paid monthly subscription plan that offers early access to select features. It also said that the cooling off period for new accounts to buy Twitter Blue has now been reduced to 30 days from the earlier 90 days. Twitter Blue would also provide users the option of the legacy blue tick verification mark. Meta has been sued by a school board in the company's home county. The lawsuit alleges the company of addicting students to its social media platforms, leading to mental health issues. The social media giant faces a plethora of lawsuits, accusing it of designing its platform to be addictive and harmful for minors. France's National Assembly has approved the use of AI-powered video surveillance during the 2024 Paris Olympics. The government has said that it would help detect abnormal behavior or crowd surges and help maintain safety during the Olympics next year. Civil rights groups have long been warning the government against it. They argue that the use of such AI technology poses a threat to civil liberties. The governor of the US state of Utah has signed 2 laws intended to restrict social media use by minors. With the move, Utah becomes the first US state to require parental permission for anyone under 18 to use platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. The 2 bills were passed by Utah's Republican-controlled legislature earlier this month. They're also meant to make it easier to sue social media companies for damages. Star boxer Nikhat Zareen has reached the World Boxing Championship 50 kg category final, assuring India of a silver at the very least. Earlier, Neetu Ganga also advanced to the final after beating Kazakhstan's Alua Balkibekova after a split decision. Lovlina Borgohain also prevailed in the 75 kg semi-final after overcoming China's Li Qin by a split verdict in the semi-final bout. In the 81 kg category semi-final, Sawati Bura defeated Australia's Emma Greentree after a split decision. UEFA has opened a formal investigation into FC Barcelona for a potential violation of the European soccer governing body's legal framework. The investigation is regarding payments made to the club by a company owned by a senior refereeing official. The club allegedly made $7.95 million in payments from 2001 to 2018 to firms owned by Jose Maria Enriquez Negreira. Negreira was vice president of the refereeing committee of the Spanish Football Association from 1993 to 2018. Julian Nagelsmann has been fired by Bayern Munich, according to German media. The news comes just days ahead of top-of-the-table showdown between Borussia Dortmund. Bayern have not officially confirmed the sacking, but it was widely reported in Germany. 35-year-old Nagelsmann has been in charge since the summer of 2021, winning last year's Bundesliga title. The deadline for interested parties to submit new bids to buy Manchester United has been extended. It was originally set for 2100 GMT on March 23rd. The only two bidders to declare their interest, Ineos owner Jim Ratcliffe and Qatari banker Sheikh Jassim, requested the deadline to be extended as they're yet to submit revised bids to buy the club. It's not clear when the new deadline is for Ratcliffe and Jassim to submit their bids. Senegal will look to make it 3 wins out of 3 in their Africa Cup of Nations qualifying campaign when they play Mozambique in Dakar later this evening. The defending champions need to win 2 more matches to ensure their spot in next January's tournament in the Ivory Coast. Aliou Cisse's side will be relying on Sadio Mane's firepower, with the Bayern Munich striker scoring all 4 of Senegal's goals in this qualifying campaign. Kylian Mbappe has addressed his first press conference as the French football team's new captain. Mbappe said that his main role as France captain will be to link the old and the new generation of players in the squad. Mbappe was named France captain to replace Hugo Lloris on Tuesday. The decision was taken after the 36-year-old goalkeeper announced his international retirement in January. Pro-Indian golfer Vani Kapoor came up with a crucial birdie on the very last hole to card 3 under 69 and take the lead in the 7th leg of the Women's Pro Golf Tour being held in India. Kapoor finished at 2 under 214 for 3 days, and Gaurika ended at 1 under 215 to be second. With the win, Kapoor has successfully ended her 3-year trophy drought. Australian Cadden Groves has sprinted to a Stage 4 win at the Volta a Catalunya. However, Slovenian Primoz Roglic and Belgian Remco Evenepoel still maintain their overall lead. Alpecin Deceuninck rider Groves completed the 117-mile stage from Livia to Sabadell in Spain in 4 hours, 19 minutes and 37 seconds. Today's Stage 5 is a 176.5-kilometer ride from Tortosa to Lopot. Cyclist Kristen Worley has called World Athletics' ban on transgender women athletes upsetting. Worley is the first transitioned athlete to successfully legally challenge the gender policies of the International Olympic Committee. She sought to compete for Canada at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. She has since become an educator on the topic of transgender athletes and safeguarding women in sports. 3-time Olympian Wu Peng is staging a comeback in the pool at Chinese Spring Nationals this week. 36-year-old Peng had announced his retirement from competitive swimming a decade ago. He represented China at the 2004, 2008 and 2012 Olympics, the first when he was just 17 years of age. Peng famously defeated Michael Phelps in the 200 fly twice in 2011, ending a 9-year winning streak for the American swimmer. Apple Studios is planning to spend $1 billion on theatrical film releases. Apple will produce more original films that will have theatrical releases. The movies will run for a minimum of a month in theaters. The studio is also in talks with other studios about partnerships. Korean drama series Reborn Rich is set to get a Thai remake. Asian streaming platform Viu will remake the 16-episode series. Reborn Rich aired in Korea in November 2022. The original starred Jung Ki. The remake is expected to release in 2024. BBC will not film the latest series of Top Gear. The announcement follows co-presenter, the cricketer Andrew Flintoff's car crash. The 45-year-old was injured at the show's track at Dunsfold Aerodrome last December. BBC has concluded an investigation into the accident. Flintoff joined the show in 2019 and is thinking of quitting as co-presenter. The Indian adaptation of the CBS show Ray Donovan climbs Netflix's charts. Rana Naidu is on Netflix's top 10 most watched non-English series. The show is at number 4 on Netflix's global charts with 16.41 million viewed hours. The Indian version stars Rana Daggubati and Venkatesh Daggubati. Netflix has picked up Greek television drama Maestro in Blue. The show is the first ever Greek scripted series streaming on Netflix. The show debuted on Netflix on March 17th. It hit the global top 10 of the most watched shows on Netflix this week. The acquisition comes amid Netflix's global territorial expansion plans. K-pop band New Jeans is the first female K-pop band to perform at Lollapalooza. Korean boy band Tomorrow X together will be the headliners at the fest. The music festival is scheduled between August 3rd and 6th. The festival will take place in Chicago's Grant Park. Italian singer Andrea Bocelli performed at New York's Times Square. She sang the song Amazing Grace for fans. The 64-year-old was promoting his film The Journey, a musical special from Andrea Bocelli. He was accompanied by his wife. The film will release on April 2nd. The release date for the Lord of the Rings Gollum video game has been announced. The video game will be released on May 25th. The game will be available for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One. Developer Daedalic Entertainment announced the launch date in a press release. God of War Ragnarok wins 14 awards at the Game Audio Network Guild Awards. Audio of the Year, Best Original Song are among the awards won by the video game. The video game bags more than half of the awards. The awards celebrate music, dialogue and sound design of the year's greatest games. Bruce Willis and his wife Emma Hemming Willis have renewed their wedding vows. The two